Hi kids, this is teacher Vidya. My aim is to make you all to classify medieval India's towns based on their different functions. Villages are usually forming regions with limited population. When more people move to a new place to earn from new kinds of livelihoods, the population and facilities grow, changing it to a city or urban area. Many towns came into existence like Lahore, Pakistan, Delhi, Bidar, Binaras, Ajmer, Surat, and Machlipatinam due to various functions and occupations these towns provided. As many people migrated to earn their livelihood, these towns also grew into major cities. There were many factors to classify these towns into religious, administrative, and commercial towns or centers. For example, religious towns had many temples or a large famous temple or dargah visited by people from all over the country. Administrative towns were important as the rulers and nobles lived in these towns. In order to cater to the needs of the rich, people started living in these towns. Commercial towns were located on important trade routes and usually near a port. In these towns, buying and selling and export of goods took place by traders from all over the world. A town might be located on an important trade route or port and may have a ruler who controls the trade. Often the ruler builds a temple in the town to exhibit his power and influence. For example, Hampi. Let us learn about the key features of medieval towns like Hampi, Surat, and Machilipatnam. Surat was located near river Tapti and was an important port on India's west coast by the Arabian Sea and the Mughals. Machilipatnam was near river Krishna under Golconda kings. Hampi under the Vijayanagara Empire was located near river Tungabhadra. These port towns were important commercial centers of the Indian subcontinent. The flourishing trade between India and West Asia, Africa, Europe, and Southeast Asia helped gain these port towns importance as merchants from all over the world would visit these towns to trade in buying of Indian and selling of foreign products. Taxes collected from these ports brought revenue and made the kingdoms very rich. Surat was an important halt for pilgrims bound for Mecca. It had a main market for gold jari and textiles. Machilipatnam developed from a small fishing village to a bustling port city used by Dutch to export textile and spices. Hampi exported textiles and spices, and its distinctive architecture, large orchards, and gardens invited tourists from all over the world. In the late 18th century, following the decline of Mughal Empire, European trading companies like the Dutch, French, and British bought among themselves and took charge of many territories. They also built new cities and moved their factories and operations away from the traditional port towns. The prosperity of these ports declined. Hampi was invaded by the Deccan Sultans. Let us learn about the changes brought about in the nature of craft production and trade by the Europeans. The French, Dutch, and English, besides other European companies, fought with each other to set up their companies in India for buying goods. This created demands for Indian products, and more people started working in the textile business. This led to refined quality in products. In order to have territorial rights, the British established new port towns like Port William in Calcutta and Fort St. George in Madras. The new towns they established also came under the influence of European architecture, unlike medieval towns whose town design and architecture followed the Indo Islamic style. The European companies convinced Indian craft persons, merchants, and artisans to live in these cities. However, these towns were distinctly divided into black towns or local cities for the local Indians and white towns for the Europeans, which was not the case in the medieval towns. The artisans took advance money from the Europeans to make their designs. The artisans started depending on this money. In the long run, the artists lost the right to sell their products to other buyers or sell their designs. Many traders from across the world came to these towns to buy things like precious stones, salt, saffron, ivory, spices, and textiles. The textiles and spices were sold on the Red Sea ports, and European traders brought these goods in bulk, bringing profit for the Indian traders. This trade also helped in encouraging the crafts of different regions to become popular across the country and the world, helping the craft persons economically. Markets are places where buying and selling of goods take place. In medieval India, traders were encouraged by kings to sell their goods in the markets. For example, Alauddin Khalji established the mandis, means wholesale market. Many new towns emerged from villages due to the popularity of these wholesale markets where farmers sold their goods to traders and the traders supplied these goods to the other regions of the subcontinent. These towns would also organize hats or street markets, and the villages from neighboring areas would come to buy and sell things. The trader often formed groups, association, or guilds in order to protect their interest. Some guilds traded in particular goods special to their region, crafts, or community. These guilds followed rules and regulations, standardized or fixed same price of goods to protect the interest of small and big traders. They had quality checks for goods and materials to prevent unfair trade practices. For example, trade leaders would negotiate on behalf of horse merchants to sell horses to the army. The guilds traveled in caravans both for inland and foreign trade. The growth in business also saw the birth of Indian trading and merchant communities from across the country. The Banjaras from Rajasthan, traders in grain and horses, Settias from Tamil Nadu, Bogras from Gujarat, Marwari Aswals, Moors or Arabs were famous merchant communities. These groups often specialized in trades of particular goods. Similarly, Arab, Persian, Chinese, Syrian, and European traders lived in these towns, conducting their buying and selling of goods to their homelands. Thank you so much, kids.